Hello, everyone. Happy Thursday. So it's been a lot this week. It's kind of crazy. As you know, I got invited to Parliament House in Canberra by the Health Minister. That's just how I roll. And it's been a bit hectic. So I'm just trying to scoff down an instant noodle before I talk to my unleashed co-host, Cathrine Mahoney. Sorry, I keep saying my honey because she is my honey. Cathrine Mahoney, who is a fabulous Brit, Gen X woman. She has no filter. And the reason I wanted to talk to Cath is because I also want to interview lived experience perimenopausal women. And it's great to have doctors, nurses, scientists, researchers on my IG Live series. However, we also need real women's experience and stories, right? So, Cath, I can see you just joined. Hello. So let me tell you a little bit about my Cath MyHoney. She is freaking funny. She is fab, and she always wears red lipsticks like I do, but me, not today, because I have too much going on. So she wrote a book called Currently Between Husbands. Please go and check it out. And she is also co-hosting Unleashed. And she's just a sweetheart. And I am going to try and invite her. We're going to talk all things perimenopausal. And for those who's got questions for Cath, please write it in the comments. If I see it, I see it. But as you know, I can't really multitask on this bloody Instagram IG Live because it's just a lot. Anyway, I can see loads of you have joined. Thank you so much. Cath, I'm going to invite you. Look out for my DMs and wait for my success connection dance. All right. Bear with me, people. Cath. Invite. I'm ready. Do you like my hair?
I was like, don't go wrong on the one I'm doing. Oh,
By the way,
yeah.
I love this straight hair. Did I influence you to have straight hair?
No, I had my greys done yesterday, so she does a blow dry. Do you
Oh
like
my.
it?
No, serious. I'm so serious. You need to straighten your hair
Okay.
in your next date. I'm serious. You look so hot.
Well, I've just got a mark on my shirt, so I'm just going to place my hair there, all
Yeah.
over the
So
mark.
have I. I've got instant noodle all. I splashed instant noodle all over my fucking face just now because I was like rushing, and I didn't want to miss any kind of like instant. Don't tell my son because he will freak out because I shouldn't be eating instant noodles. So bad for you. So,
Hi.
my honey,
Hi.
let's introduce you. What's your full name? What do you do? And how old are you?
Okay, my full name is Cathrine with a C, no E in the middle, Anne with an E, Mahoney. I'm a Capricorn. I am 51. I was going to say 52, perimenopause, but I am still 51 for 6 months. And I'm a storyteller. So I've written books. I do a one-woman show. I do podcasts with you. We do the Fabulous Unleashed with the other four ladies. So yeah,
Yeah.
storyteller is how I like
Exactly.
to do it. Yeah.
Exactly. So, are you going through perimenopause and share your symptoms and your first ever GP visit?
Okay, I am definitely balls deep in my peri era. That's for sure. My first symptoms, I think I was about 47. So here's the thing. I don't know if it's the same for other people, but before you get anywhere near peri, you sort of don't pay much attention to it, do you? It's like when you don't need to buy a car, you know nothing about cars. And suddenly when you're in it, you want to know everything. So I was still getting my periods regularly. And having no hot flushes, so they were the things that I knew back in my 40s that meant I was going to be in perimenopause. I didn't have either, but what I did have, my first symptom was a dry vagina. So dry and vagina are two words you don't want to put together ever, do you? Like it's like, no, thank you very much. And because I was sort of I mean, I'm a pretty out there person and I'm a bit of an oversharer, but anything I think to do with your back or front bum, when you don't think anyone else is going through it, like I was just really embarrassed. So I kind of didn't talk to anyone about it. And I have a wonderful female GP and I didn't even tell her because I just was like, what's wrong with me? Have I broken it? Have I overused it? That with myself mainly, not with others, sadly.
And certain
But
objects, you know.
and so exactly. And I was like, what? Like, I still feel very aroused, but it's not talking to my downstairs. Anyway, then I was doing a podcast. This was quite a few years, maybe 3 years ago, with Noelda Jacobs for Mamma Mia. It's called the 456 Club. It was about women in their 40s, 50s, and 60s. And we had a doctor on, and she was talking about peri. And one of the things she mentioned was that. And so my little ears were like, woo, okay. So that was my first symptom. And I also had, I thought I had depression. That, I'm a happy person. I can find the joy in, in pretty much anything. And every day I'm like, it's a fresh start, fresh day for greatness. And I was just flatlining. And again, because you don't want to be the person bringing your friends down, and my mum and dad are elderly and the other side of the world, you don't share that stuff, or I did. And I was like, put my red lipstick on, I'm fine. When on the inside, I just wasn't fine. And I was like, what is wrong with me? So again, I'd put a date in my diary. I'd given myself like 2 months in case it was just a bit of life. And I thought, if in 2 months I'm still really flat, I'll go to the doctors and talk about maybe antidepressants or what's going on. So I had no idea that both of those were like big red screaming indicator lights that I was in peri. And luckily, it was a friend who was a bit older than me who'd been through menopause and had listened to the Imperfects podcast with Dr. Louise Newsom. And she was like, I think you need to listen to this. And I think it was the first time I heard all of the other things that weren't just hot flushes or your periods, stopping and starting, that were related to menopause. And that was the point where I went to see my GP and I was like, this is where I'm at. I think I'm peri. So yeah,
And
that
did
was
she?
it.
So when you said to her like, "Oh,
Yeah.
I'm suspecting this is perimenopause,"
Yeah.
what was the reaction?
Oh, look, I mean, I've won lotto with my doctor. She's a fabulous GP. I've had her for 11 or 12 years and she was already across it. She was like, she was well versed. I think, I do believe that Imperfects podcast episode really, really sort of, I think a lot of people had that light bulb moment that were in peri that weren't sure they were once they heard it. So I think there was just a lot more talk in the media and in our sort of zeitgeist about things. So she was right on it. And we did the blood test, but I was also kind of armed with the knowledge that unless you do a blood test every single day throughout your cycle, your levels can skyrocket. They can do all sorts. And so when I hear girlfriends now saying, oh, I've had my bloods taken, I'm fine, I'm like, but that's like just one day out of your whole like month. And unless you want to spend a fortune and get pricked a lot, giving bloods, you that is not necessarily how you're going to nail if you're in peri or not. So
100%.
yeah,
So this is
yeah,
this is my red flag
yeah,
always when
yeah,
people or doctor goes, "We'll do a blood test." I'm not.
yeah.
No,
No,
no. That's just for like a short period. I mean, you can
yes,
gauge
yeah,
anything that's lacking where your hormones. I mean, you can't base on people.
yeah.
Blood test is not the gold standard. It's not.
Yes, yeah. I mean, and and I'm not a doctor, and I'm just sort of explaining my scenario. But straight away, I got on the progesterone, and I got on the estrogen on the gel. Because it was at a time, and I don't know if it's the same, but it was certainly at a time where the patches were going out of stock. And my doctor was like, I don't want to get you to a good level with your hormones, and then we can't get your patches. So that's why I went on the gel. And she kind of said, because we're replacing hormones with the hormone, if this is peri and not depression, your lights are going to come on pretty quickly. And they did. Like within 2-3 weeks, it was just like, Wizard of Oz, full color comes back, and you're like, oh my God, I'm me again, So it was a game. It was night and day for me, especially when it came to that kind of flat mood. Yeah.
So with the gel, because I'm on Estradiol patch, and
Yeah.
as we all know, it runs out so quickly. So I actually at one point I tried the gel,
Yeah.
and it set me back to square one.
Oh,
And my
wow.
husband Jason was begging me to go back to the patch because I just completely fell apart.
Yeah.
So I think with some people it's about absorption. Some people can
Mhm.
absorb the patch very well, but they get
Yeah.
itchy skin. Some people
Yeah.
absorb the gel very well. And where do you put your gel? And it took 3 weeks, but
Yeah.
was it like it didn't do anything for 3 weeks and suddenly it did?
No, I'd say by about 10 days in, I started to feel better. I mean, I had lots. Now I know what symptoms are. I had lots of other symptoms. I had like the aching legs, like the sore joints. I kept doing COVID tests because I was like literally, I was like, everything aches. Like, what is this? And that stuff all just went. So I put my gel. This is from spending a lot of time with Dr. Ginny, who obviously is also on our podcast. She suggests that for women, putting it on the inside of your thigh, especially because we live in Australia and our skin can be a bit tougher because it's had the sun exposure, that the inside thigh is the most receptive and absorbs it sort of the best. I was putting mine on at night and she said no, it's much better to do it in the morning so you kind of have the positive burst. So yeah, that's where I do it. Look, sometimes I go off script and squirt a bit more than maybe I should. But I sort of figure, well, anyway, again, I'm not a doctor, but yeah, that I haven't had experience with a patch to know what the difference was. But yeah, so that was me. And then maybe about 12 months down the track, I threw testosterone in the mix. So my trifecta is those three things. So I also I've been using the testosterone cream for probably 2 years because my libido had absolutely left the building. And I can confirm it's back. So that's good.
What
Yes.
about progesterone? Are you taking pill form, oral?
Yes, I take oral form at night. So I take that at night time, just take one. Yeah, so I mean, it's not, and I think this is the important thing, isn't it? Like I couldn't be without the medication. And the
Yeah.
reality is, your hormones, male testosterone, from what I know, is a slow, it's a slow decline. With us, our estrogen, it's like we can just fall off a cliff. Like we're making it, we stop making it, and we don't make it anymore. And so for me, like I can't be without that. But I'm also mindful that sometimes life is exhausting. We're in our 50s now. We've both got young, you've got your son, I've got Lou, he's 17. That's a lot of driving around, a lot of extra sport, a lot of HSC, a lot of stress, and I think what I'm trying to say is taking HRT hasn't made me feel 25 again. I am still 51 and I would still be very happy to go to bed at 8:30 most nights. But
Me too.
really very happy. But also happy to be up at 5:30. Like I'd rather do mornings now. I mean, so but I think it is important to know life is still going to throw you curveballs. Like my mood is still impacted. My sleep, I'll have like amazing sleep, and then in the last kind of 10 days I've had the 3 a.m.s again, and I was like, oh, I thought we'd finish this. And so I just think it's knowing that it's not just one size fits all, is it? That you're going to have to keep doing the exercise, having good sleep hygiene, if you drink, looking at that and how much you drink, just all of the stuff that we know, I suppose.
So we'll talk about sleep in a minute.
Yeah.
So have you stopped drinking? Are you still drinking?
I've stopped drinking because it just didn't work for me as I was aging. I was like, and what I've learned is through through menopause, we don't metabolize alcohol the way that we did. Because I was like, how am I so hungover from 2 glasses? Like, like just it would definitely affect me. Or I'd have three and I'd go, don't really remember the end of the Netflix episode I was watching last night. You go, what? Did someone spike my drink? And then you go, no, because I live alone. Um,
You're like, oh,
you're like, oh
that's
dear.
brilliant.
But I just think for me, I couldn't see I couldn't the cons were outweighing the pros for drinking for me. It was affecting my sleep more. I was putting rubbish in my mouth. Again, when you live on your own and there's no one going, hey, you've had 2 dinners. Are you sure you want a cheese plate? Like all of that stuff. I think I sort of went, yeah, it's not. And the sleep for me, with sleep being so precious during perimenopause anyway, I'm like, I just want my sleep. Thank you very much. What about
100%.
you?
So I've stopped drinking a few years now,
Yeah.
as you said,
Yeah.
exactly the same feeling. And what's even more weird is I will drink. I try to drink now and then, once
Mhm.
every 6 months, because we're in the bar,
Yeah.
and then I will order something and completely regret it, and then
Yeah.
straight away headache.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, that's $40 gone.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
So I'm quite happy to just say to people, I don't drink anymore, but by all
Mhm.
means, you drink.
Yeah.
You have a hangover. I'm not going to have a hangover. But I think it's really important. I mean, my sleep has gone out the window. So as we all know, I
Yeah.
live in Melbourne. The pod Unleashed is in Sydney, so I have to travel. And I don't sleep well in hotels.
Mhm.
When I was younger, traveling around the world, of course, I could sleep on a bus.
Yeah.
Now it's so different. When I'm not in my own bed, it's very different. So just now I went to Canberra at the Parliament House and I was staying in a very cute hotel and the
Mhm.
bed was surprisingly very comfy. Did not sleep until 5 a.m. and I had
Oh,
to wake up at 7:30. I was so screwed. So screwed. And I was like, oh my God, the joy of being midlife, because you get sleeping pattern that is amazing
yeah.
and then it goes downhill and you have to refine it again. It's just like it's a lot. So someone asked us
Hmm.
for about vaginal estrogen, which
Yeah.
surprisingly a lot of women don't know about it, and they're not taking it. So every woman I meet at perimenopausal, I always tell them, ask your GP about vaginal estrogen,
Hmm.
because for me, it's been amazing. I don't have a dry vajayjay. However, I think it's really important to make sure your microbiome downstairs is very
Yeah.
healthy. Are you
Yes.
taking vaginal estrogen?
I started with taking that. That was the first thing we did before the HRT. So, everything was back. I mean, I wouldn't say I was like Niagara Falls, but everything was back in business. And then when I went on the HRT, that's when I sort of pulled back with the vaginal estrogen. But but I also, at the moment, I don't have a partner. So I don't have, I don't know if it's something I need in my life if I do have a partner. I've got a girlfriend who stopped taking it and now she has a lot of UTIs with her husband. So she's going back on it. So maybe when I have a real life partner again, then it's something I would put in the mix for sure. But it definitely worked when I first was on
Yeah,
it.
I think from what my understanding of vaginal estrogen, and we will, ask your doctor, everyone,
Yeah.
because Kath and I are just like, normal
Randoms.
people
Yeah.
giving personal experience.
Yeah.
So definitely ask your GP about vaginal estrogen. But from what I have learned from my own GP and also, even Dr. Louise Newson in the UK, vaginal estrogen is not only when you have a partner or not,
Hmm.
because we need to keep our microbiome downstairs very healthy,
Yeah.
and it helps with UTI. And sometimes, if people weeing in the middle of the night, it helps with that as well. So, and it's not too much. The myth about vaginal estrogen is that people think if you're taking HRT and vaginal estrogen, it's a lot. It's not a
Hmm.
lot, because my doctor keep telling me that the amount of estrogen is very minimal,
Hmm.
but you need to keep downstairs healthy.
Yeah.
That's number one. So for me, I always tell people, please try to get on it and ask your GP, because it's not even for your partner, it's for your own microbiome.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, look, I'm seeing my doctor next week, so I've now put it on the list.
Yes.
So I will.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Exactly. What about all these challenges, that all the symptoms? How did it affect your work from the beginning until now?
Oh, it was horrendous because the brain fog, if you're a writer or a wordsmith, having brain fog, and brain fog is real. Like, you'd always sort of heard maybe our mum's generation mention it. And I was like, yeah, what's that? And I remember I was in a TV writing room and I started to say something and I couldn't remember the word for spoon. And I was just like,
No way.
it's the thing, and I was like, oh my gosh. And trying to, at the time, I did a podcast called So I Quit My Day Job, where it was just a one-on-one where I would interview a person about their kind of world. So there's nowhere to hide when you're the interviewer. Like, you can't ask anyone else to sort of take over. So that was really difficult. And trying to show up as a freelancer to be really joyful and sort of present and happy when I felt so flat was hard work. That was really difficult. And not, I think the testosterone for me, and I believe it doesn't help. From what I know, some people can take it in and it has no impact. Other people it can sort of impact in a slight way, and then there's, I think, maybe 35% where it's like bang. So for me, having the testosterone not just helped the libido, but it gave me like my pep back. Instead of really struggling to walk the park, which I would do religiously every day, and get to the gym and really struggle, I just kind of like I had just had that kind of extra oomph to do it, because I missed that. I really missed the exercise and the endorphins that it kind of gave me. You do, it's really, and as a mum, I mean, I've got a teenage son, so he's on his own hormone journey, bless him. But the rage that I felt at times before I was on HRT was insane. Like I'd had PMS before, and your partner might give you the shits or whatever, but this rage might be like, I'd asked Lewis for the fourth time, can you take the cup and apple from your room and put it in the kitchen? And on the fourth time, I was like a poltergeist, like it's like, and you could feel, you'd be like, who is this like crazy anger? And it's scary because as soon as you've had the outburst, you feel appalling at whoever you've had the outburst with, and it's usually your nearest and dearest, and it's just a horrible cycle. So I really am so glad that it's just normal
And
pissed offness I
I
have
think
now.
that perimenopausal rage is so different from normal rage, because I
Yeah.
remember at the beginning when I didn't know what the hell was going on. My husband, bless him, he's such a nice, calm person. I think he was asking me about something really normal, like, what do you want for dinner? And I was like, what did I just told you like 5 times, didn't I? And you know what I did? I did like a Bruce Lee kick. I kicked, not him. I really tore IKEA bin and dented it. I was
Oh,
like, wow, I'm so strong. Let's go. But I was like, who is this
yeah.
person?
It's scary.
It's so scary. And
Yeah.
then, and the vibe was so off. And it's a very scary time when you don't know what's going on. And the
Yeah.
word that I keep missing and forgot is epidural.
Yeah.
For the life of me, when people ask me, did you have a C-section or did you have like natural birth?
Yeah.
I could not remember that word. Can you believe
Zero.
it?
Yeah.
Like, seriously, just now, I kind of
Gone.
forgot, but I
Yeah.
had to write it down when I was, about to tell you. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. And it's still, like I said, it's not like, it's not pick and stick. You don't just start the HRT and everything's fine. Like, it's still, these things still happen, but I think they're just more manageable now, or they certainly are for me. You just go, okay. And also with sleep, if I'm going to have a ton of sugar before bed or a lot of salty food, I know that's going to wake me up. So it's just being respectful that you're in this time of life that it just requires a different, I guess, you just have to accept and love the fact that you're in this stage, that we're lucky to still be alive, and that it's going to pass. This is just this is a temporary phase. So, and it's not all awful, is it? I don't find it all
No,
awful.
I've learned so much in the past few years that I would have never have done if I was first living in Hong Kong, because
Mhm.
they don't have a good system there when it
Yeah.
comes to perimenopausal women. They soldier on, isn't that crazy?
Mhm. Yeah.
And and I think it was really good timing for me for this to happen in Australia, because there are many good doctors, and I have a big group of menopause gang. I'm the dumbest one out of everyone. Everyone's like doctors, scientists, researchers, like amazing women. I got willing to this group, And I've learned so much from them. And I really highly recommend for people to be surrounded by women that are much smarter than you, because that's how you're going to learn. And
Yes.
what about supplements? And how much are you spending each month on supplements and also medication?
I just the main supplement. Well, I take collagen in my smoothie, and I take creatine in my smoothie, and I take magnesium before bed with my progesterone. They're the kind of three that I'm on. I don't know what I spend every month because I guess you buy things at different times, don't you? So I'm not really sure. I mean, I don't think that the testosterone's on the PBS,
No.
so that isn't. But the other two hormones I take are on the PBS, so they're not too expensive. And the creatine wasn't. I mean, that sort of stuff isn't too expensive, and it lasts a long time. So yeah, that's
Are you taking creatine powder or or pill form?
powder. I just put it in my smoothie
Right.
in the
And how
morning.
many
But
grams are you taking?
I think it's 10 grams I put in. Yeah.
Mm, mm.
But I researched so that I wasn't just grabbing the first one I saw. I sort of got one from online. And that's what I do with my protein powder too. I really look at how much protein is in it rather than just thinking all protein powders are the same. They're not. So
No.
they're the things I'm trying to be mindful of, and just now having, good protein, good fiber, just trying to eat, just be mindful that that is all helping, if I'm eating in a healthy way as opposed to just eating crap.
And also, before perimenopause, I used to eat. Can you imagine me? I used to eat ice cream before bed. Oh my God, that is
Oh,
horrifying for me
yeah,
to know now. But we eat very early. We eat like
yeah,
latest 6:30, because
yeah,
it takes 3 hours for food to
yeah,
digest before bed, right? So you have
yeah,
to be very mindful how you eat, what you eat. And
mhm,
I think this journey for a lot of women, that you need to make so much effort,
yeah,
and we're all busy. Unless you really make an effort, it's not gonna happen like that.
yeah. It is. It's all the things. It's like we said. It's the exercise. I'm really bad with weight training. That is something every week I'm like, let's start this week, and so I'm not nailing it perfectly. But it is those things, like for me, I love coffee, but for me, it's making sure, there's a cut off early afternoon. Otherwise, I'm going to pay for that in my sleep. It is drinking the 2 liters of water I drink every day now. And meditation, like we've talked about it on the pod. It's not for everyone, but for me, a guided meditation in the morning and at night just can just calm your racing mind down. It just sort of shuts it down, because it's like, hey, we've got these things to worry about tomorrow. Let's just close it down so we can have some sleep.
Exactly. So let's talk about the new perimenopause campaign, which
Yeah.
just launched.
hmm
Um, have you seen it, and what do you think of it? And could they do better? What are they missing?
Look, I mean, it's a 30-second ad. So, or the one I've seen is a 30-second ad. I think they've added a lot for 30 seconds. I think if you were a husband or a partner, you might pick up some of the signs that, your partner's going through. Or if you're a kid seeing mum, what I liked for me, being self-deprecating and using humor, that is a great way to get messaging across. And I think they've nailed that, um, without trivializing what we go through. I think most women who are in peri would watch that ad and go, yeah, yeah, I sat at the end fanning myself at the restaurant while we're waiting, like, for our orders to be taken. I've wondered why I'm walking into a room. So I think using comedy was really good. I'm not sure what else I expected them to fit into 30 minutes, to be honest. I think it's a really good conversation starter. Yeah, I mean, what did you think of it? You're obviously there in Canberra for the launch.
Yeah, so actually, the health minister gave me a preview before the launch,
Mhm.
so me and Shirley Horton, we had a
Yeah.
preview because they want to know what we think, because we were the
Mhm.
initial two people that they asked us what they should do and should not do.
Yeah.
And Shirley and I are very direct people. We're
Yeah.
pretty blunt. So we just drill into them so much that do not make this old lady style.
Yeah.
Do not do this, do not do that. And they
Yeah.
listen, right?
Yeah.
The only thing that I said immediately after I saw the preview, I said to the health minister that I wish you included libido as a sketch,
Yeah.
because it's such a taboo topic that if you get a stamp from the government saying, you know what, this happens, let's normalize this talk,
Yeah.
then people will start thinking, oh, even the government has said that.
Yeah.
And sometimes, when you got a stamp of approval, people do think about it, or at least talk about it, or
Yeah.
allow yourself to talk about this topic. So that was the only thing I said to them. That was my immediate thought. However, I know
Mhm.
that there's so many different symptoms, they can't cover everything.
Yeah.
What they've done, I think they've done really well.
Hmm.
And thank God it's modernized. It's not
Yes.
something I just got, oh, for God's
Yeah.
sake. But I do wish that libido was in the sketch.
Yeah.
So yeah, anyway. So I mean, I'll talk more about my experience at Parliament House on the pod.
Yeah.
So I won't say anything here. But I just want to say I've taken half an hour of your precious time today. One last thing.
Yes.
Looking back in hindsight, what would you have done differently?
I would have got to the doctor sooner. Definitely, because I thought I was depressed for probably almost a year, which in hindsight, if I'd known it was perimenopause and I got on HRT, that, I would have eradicated that, because it wasn't depression. It was just, I had no estrogen and my mood just went like that. That's what I wish I would have done, I
Yeah,
think. Yeah.
yeah. So as you know, I don't agree with soldiering on.
No.
Um, I was lucky enough to seek help within 3 months,
Mhm.
but I highly recommend that people educate themselves. And also, if your doctor diss you, find another one.
Mhm.
Don't stick with one that's going
Yes.
to diss you and don't understand you.
Yeah. I always say that to people. I sort of talk about the blood test. If your one blood test is okay, that's not enough. If you, look at the 38 symptoms or whatever that smorgasbord is, and if you identify with, any of them or a few of them, then go in armed to talk to your GP to go, this is what I have,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
change the GP if you need to. I love my GP.
Yes, I have a very good GP as well. Shout out to Dr. Caroline. Cath
No,
MyHoney, thank you so much for your time. And
no,
now I'm
lovely
going
to
to try to
see you.
save this. But,
Okay.
as you know, Instagram
Who
is
knows?
racist towards me. So I'm going to say goodbye to you. Thank you. And
Okay.
I will tag you. So for everyone who's watching this and want to see the
Thank
full
you.
version,
Yeah.
please go to my YouTube Graceland chats so you can see the whole thing. But I will do a snippet on Instagram.
Perfect. Can I come off without breaking anything?
Don't come off now. Let me come off
Okay.
first.
Okay. Okay. I'm just going
All
to
right,
wait
let me try
here.
and say this.
Okay.
Bye, people. Thank you for
Bye.
tuning in.
Thank you.